Hi, everybody. Welcome to your summer math class. If you're in Math 90, 111, or 171 at Milligan, you're in the right spot. Um, right now, we have a few people in Math 111 and a few people in 171. Actually, one person who's going to try to take both of those in the next 4 weeks, which is great. Um, yeah, this is going to be one video syllabus to rule them all. We're going to try to go through everything. Um, and not too long of a video. This is me and my family. Um, this past Easter, kids are getting big. Anyways, I've been working here at Milligan teaching math for about 8 years, and yeah, I'm gonna be happy to work with you this semester. So don't be a stranger. Um, Practically, we need to talk about introducing you to the course, helping you understand the structure of Khan Academy. That's going to be our main mastery-based curriculum. I'm going to show you how to sign up, how to navigate that well so that you're working efficiently. Um, we'll look at our Canvas site and I'll show you around the links there. We're going to be using Zoom for video conferencing between us so that you get some human interaction in this online course. Um, I'm going to talk about AI as a learning tool. I am a massive nerd, and while AI is not, you know, purely good in the whole educational sphere, I think that when used well, AI can be a really cool tool for learning mathematics. So I'm going to show you around that and show you some tools that maybe you haven't seen before. And then yeah, we'll talk at the end. Um, anyways, we are working through a mastery-based curriculum on Khan Academy, which means it's set up in a kind of a hierarchy where, each one of these classes is going to have a course. So, Math 90 has a pre-algebra course. Math 111 has the course Algebra 1. Math 171 actually has two courses. Algebra 2 is the main one, and then trigonometry is a separate course that is much smaller. But that extra trigonometry course introduces the extra trigonometry ideas that aren't covered in Algebra 2 that we need you to have for a good foundation to take calculus this fall. Um, what is what makes this difference than maybe like a normal class or normal textbook? Um, Mastery-based learning is going to have flexible pacing. You may have noticed that this summer semester is 4 weeks long, and fitting a math class into that could be challenging. Um, it means we're going to need to make about 25% progress overall each week. So it'll be a fast pace, but I believe in you. Um, and one of the cool things about flexible pacing is that, you're going to be able to work at your own pace and spend a longer time on things that you don't understand, but be able to breeze through the stuff that you already understand so that hopefully this education is going to fit you personally. Um, Mastery-based learning emphasizes active learning so that you are working through exercises almost the entire time, showing what you know and learning in a problem-based environment. Um, and so, yeah, it's kind of you versus the math, and you're going to continue uh, racking up your score throughout the 4 weeks of this course. You will progress unit by unit. Each course is broken up into about 15 units of material. Um, except that trigonometry course that's only 4 units of material. Anyways, um, you'll go through unit by unit. Generally, you want to go through the first one and then the second one because the units do tend to progress upon each other to some extent. Within each unit, there are a bunch of individual what they're called skills, and I'll show you pictures of all this. So skills are like the fundamental unit of learning in Khan Academy. Let's say that there's a couple hundred skills throughout the entire course. Skills might be working with compound inequalities, or solving word problems with exponential functions. Um, so those are like mathematical concepts that you want to work on and master. Um, and so, each unit might have, 30 skills in it or something like that, maybe less. And then, if each unit has maybe 20 skills, and then there's like, uh, I don't know, 15 units. Oh gosh, what does that mean? That there's about 300 skills overall in the course, just to give you a ballpark of what to expect. But your progress on the skills is what influences the overall progress within each unit and then over the entire course. I'll show you where to look on Khan Academy when we get there. There's going to be 5 different ways that you can make progress. Practice is where you work on one individual skill at a time. Quizzes work on maybe 4 or 5 skills at the same time, and so quizzes are a really nice way to start into things and make progress quickly because instead of answering maybe 4 or 5 questions in a practice, you're able to, on one skill, you're able to answer, maybe 5 or 6 questions within a quiz and get credit for 5 or 6 skills at a time. Um, so working with quizzes initially is a really good way to go. Um, Once you work through those things, you'll be doing unit tests. Those are at the end of each unit. Pretty self-explanatory. Um, there's what's called a mastery challenge, which is kind of a nice way to review and get extra credit on skills that aren't fully mastered yet. And the course challenge at the end is what's going to take the place of your final. It's 30 questions over the entire course. And so um, you can save the course challenge until the very end when you're done with everything else. Um, but I'll give you more details on that soon. Okay. Um, cool. Here's a guide to gaining mastery points. So overall, all right, for this is the pre-algebra course. This would be for Math 90. Right now, this says that there are 26,200 mastery points in this course, which means there would be 262 skills overall because each skill is worth 100 points. And what this thing is telling me is that I've earned 86% of the entire course so far. And down here it gives you progress bars for each one of the units. So it looks like I haven't completely finished arithmetic properties and factors and multiples, but I have finished reading and interpreting data, which is cool. You'll see the interface. It's been updated a little bit um, since this. But this is one of the major things that we're working towards is getting overall mastery. In this course, I want you to shoot for about 90% mastery overall with this number. Um, and the reason that I want you to shoot for 90% rather than 100% is that getting those last bits of mastery points can kind of be tedious and annoying. Um, but a 90% mastery score means that you have an even mix of skills. Let me go ahead to the next uh, slides here. These are the different skill levels in Khan Academy. And if we're aiming for a 90% overall in the entire course, it means that you have a mixture of mastered skills, which give you the full 100 points, and proficient skills, which give you 80 out of the 100 points. Um, and I would say that you have, mastered the content in the course if you have a mixture of these skills. So, um, you know, basically the first time that you encounter some material, you're probably going to get 50, or if you demonstrate that you've done everything perfectly the first time, you can get right to 80 points on a given skill, right from the get-go. To get mastered, you often have to show that you know it in one context and then prove that you know it in another. I'll show you there. But yeah, we're aiming for 90% here. So at the end of the course in Canvas, I'm going to tack on 10% bonus points onto this number, and we're going to put that as part of your grade. So if you get to 90% here, expect to see 100% show up in Canvas. that kind of a thing. Um, so here again is kind of a screenshot of what Khan Academy looks like overall. You can see your overall mastery. This is just for a unit. Um, the individual skills you see over here, these are the purple things. But yeah, you can work in a given skill over here. This is the practice section. You know what? I might as well. Let me stop this. Yikes. Not that. Yeah. Let me go here and I'll click this link on Canvas so that we can look at what a unit looks like in real time. So yeah, this is what things look like overall right now. My course mastery is 31% on this account. I've got a couple different Khan Academy accounts. I have done this before. um, but yeah, let's go to unit 4 here. I'll click on unit 4, linear equations and graphs, classic. Um, when you go into a unit, you're going to see on the left-hand side, there are some videos. You are welcome to watch these videos, but you don't have to. It's not part of the assignment. Um, what we do want to focus on is getting these up. And now I guess you can notice that these icons are a little bit different. It's going to be based on the shading, as that tells you the mastery level nowadays. So light purple is 80% and dark purple is 100% mastered. And that's just based on what I've done previously. So, yeah, you could start working skill by skill in this practice section. But what I would encourage you to do first is to scroll down, find this quiz, and then this says it's going to be, 6 questions long. And when we do these 6 questions, we'll get credit for all of the skills that were above quiz number 1. So, gosh, if we needed to graph a line, -2, go up 7, and has a slope of 4, oh, I can't move that up. I need to go backwards. Boom, boom, boom. All right, let's check that out. Nice. Um, so I got one of those problems right. Ooh, let's go ahead and fail some of these. Okay, so if you get a question wrong, you totally can look through a worked example by clicking this hints button. Um, if you really want to, you could watch the videos, but I mean, I don't want you to waste your time watching videos. If you want to, cool. But if you want somebody to instruct you on how to, work through things and think about these, I would love to meet with you and talk about these things in person over Zoom. All right, let's go to the next question. What's the slope of that line? Hopefully I can see that. It looks like we go down 6 and over 2. Yeah, yeah, that's the slope of -3. All right, so we'll get some of these questions right. What's the slope of the line? It looks like we're adding on, or no, we're subtracting 4 each time. Boom. Nice. Which ordered pair? I don't know. I'm going to take a guess. Oh, yeah. Last one. What's the slope of this line? Eesh. Okay, we go over 1 and down 8. Boom. All right. So 5 out of 6 is not too bad for just clicking through it. We got some confetti. Um, but yeah, notice that since I had already done some stuff based on this first quiz, I had one skill that moved from not attempted up to attempted. So that's a 50% mastery of that. That stayed the same. This went up a little bit. This one actually went down because I got that question wrong. But okay, what I want you to notice is that this quiz covered one, two, three, four, five, six different skills worth of material. Um, you might be wondering, hey, you got these three questions right. Why did they stay exactly the same? Well, a quiz has the power to take things from 0 up to 80%, so up to this light purple proficient level. But doing a quiz will never take something up to the 100% mastered level. To get up to the mastered level, you have to do either a unit test, a mastery challenge, or a course challenge. And I'll get back to that on the slide deck. But I wanted to show you, okay, there's that. And if I wanted to go back to unit 4, I could click this button. Um, if I did pretty decent on quiz 1, I could move on down to quiz 2. I could move on down to quiz 3, and then I could take the unit test at the end. Um, and so the quickest way to make progress from scratch is to probably go through those quizzes, do a good job there. If, let's say, you did all of the quizzes and your progress looks somewhat like this. You've got some proficients, you got some familiars, you still got some that haven't gotten credit. What I would do is probably either retake that quiz to get a higher score, or you could go back and say, oh, well, I didn't do very good on this one, so I can just click on that and it'll take you to the practice where you just work on 4 problems of the same type. Um, they have some variety in here. I like Khan Academy's approach overall for a standardized curriculum. But yeah, I would say go ahead and try to fill in these gaps before you take the unit test, because when you take the unit test, you will be able to take up any scores that are currently proficient up to the mastered level, any skills that are currently familiar up to the proficient level, so on and so forth. So like when you work on the unit test, you're able to level everything up. Um, After you've done the unit test, then I would say move on to the next unit. And you can go back, you can click this to get back to the course homepage of Algebra 1. Um, yeah. And if you want to do a mastery challenge, it's up here. Anyways, let's go back to the slide deck and I'll try to, um, I'll try to show you that systematically. All right. So we looked around the interface a little bit. These are the 5 different skill levels: 50, 80, 100. Um, cool. All right. So there are 5 different ways to earn mastery points. We just looked at um, quizzes and practice on an individual skill. Those are both good ways to get up to the proficient level of 80 out of 100. And then these other ways are good ways to get from proficient, so 80 out of 100, up to 100 out of 100 or mastered. So a unit test can get you there. The mastery challenge up at the top can get you there, or taking a course challenge when you do your final can also increase your score. Everything's, connected. Um, so yeah, practice, you get 50 out of 100 if you miss a question, but you get 80 out of 100 if you don't miss any of like the 4 questions that they ask you. Um, and like I said, quizzes are a more efficient way to get to 80 out of 100 on multiple skills at one time. Um, but practice is good when you have progress on most of your skills, but you just need to focus on getting 1 or 2 to that 80 out of 100 proficient rating before you take a unit test. Quizzes are the quickest way to get multiple skills up to proficient level. Um, yeah. So also note that the first time that you take a quiz is special. If you get a perfect score on the first try that you take a quiz, um, all of the skills go up to 80 out of 100 at the same time. So If I went back here and I found something that was, completely blank, let's go to unit 12 here. That lightning bolt is the first quiz. Um, Maybe I could do this real quick too. Oh, I've actually already done one. All right, so we got a rare coin. Each decade, the coin's value is increasing by 10%. Um, since that's going to continue to build and build and build, that's an exponential relationship. I just want to show you what happens. Enrico, each month he'll deposit that. That's a linear relationship. He's adding a constant amount. Write a function. All right, so it's increasing by 1.12. Okay, 1.12 to the t, and that's t years from now, so that's pretty good. And then we need to multiply by 25,000 out front. All right, let's give this a shot. Boom. Yeah. I'm just working through this so that we can see what happens at the end. Um, Expression gives the area in square meters. Okay, one thing that I do want to say before I answer this one, notice down here that there's the start over button, and you are able to use that start over button if you miss one and you want to like clean the slate for your first try so that you make sure you get it perfect. That's one strategy that you can do. So I could click start over right now. It would just reset to 0 out of 5. You could start over, it'd be fine. Another thing that if you've got a tablet or something and you want to draw on your screen, you can click this and then this becomes, editable, which I don't know, maybe that's fun. Um, it could be useful if we're on Zoom and you do that. Yeah. So, not that you have to. It'd mainly work if you've got a stylus. Otherwise, you can just use paper and that's completely fine. Um, let's see. The expression that gives the area. Okay, what does the 5 represent? That should be like the initial area. Yeah, by the time it was discovered. Okay. Boom. Got it right. Show me the summary. Oh, okay. I get the confetti, but I only get 4 skills leveled up. Apparently, they didn't ask me a question from the skill exponential expressions word problems numerical. So if I wanted to get credit for that, I could open this back up. I could go to unit 12. I could scroll down here and I could do that to get up there. But notice that when you get it perfect, you get 80 out of 100 on all 4 of those skills right away. And what that would mean is, I just did like 5 questions. If I did about 5 more questions here, I did about 5 more questions here. If I was taking the express lane, I would have done about 15 questions so far. This unit test probably has 10 to 15 questions. So if you do everything correct, for each unit, you're probably doing 25 to 30 questions overall. And that'll grow, because none of us are perfect. Like you'll be able to go back and fill in the gaps. I'm a little bit sad that this one didn't get covered by that quiz, but it's not the end of the world. But yeah, I've already got this unit 25% mastered just from that first quiz. So progress is possible. You're going to be able to do this. Um, but progress would be much slower if you tried to do each one of these individually right from the get go. All right. So bringing this back up. Okay, so that was quizzes, unit tests, great. So unit test is a great way to get the multiple skills up from 80 to 100. Um, yeah, when you get a skill correct on a test, it moves up a level. When you get it wrong, it moves down a level. Um, yeah, and in Canvas, I will give you, a perfect score of 5 out of 5 every time that you pass a unit test. So that'll, that score will go into Canvas. But yeah, the unit tests are at the bottom of each unit page. Mastery challenges show up once a day on the main course page, and it's going to give you 6 questions focused on 3 skills that you've already worked on, but you haven't mastered yet. For each skill, if you get both questions right, move up a level. One right, one wrong means you stay, and both wrong means you move down a level. So these are great for leveling up skills that haven't gone perfectly in the past. It's a nice review. Um, but in a mastery challenge, you can move up to 100 out of 100. So it's a good thing to do, like once a day. And that's how frequently they'll show up. The course challenge is the final exam. It's going to be 30 questions because it's going to pick a variety of skills throughout the course. Um, but yeah, like let me know when you're ready to take that. Because yeah, I mean, that means that you're at the end of the course and I'll want to look over your progress and make sure that you're ready for the course challenge. Since this is a mastery based course, I will allow you to retake this um, as many times as you need to get the percent that you feel like you understand and you want to have. So, um, this is, kind of a it might feel like high stakes, but you're able to, do this. So there's some grace built in. Um, cool. To sign up for Khan Academy, which is where you're going to be doing most of your work, I have a join our class on Khan Academy link. And when you click that, you should see a screen that looks like this. It'll say you're joining that. You can click this. You can create a Khan Academy account if you don't already have one, or sign into the one that you have. Feel free to use your Milligan email address for the Khan Academy account, or you can use your own personal email address if you already have one that way. That's not a big deal. Um, but yeah, once you successfully join that, I will be able to see your progress as you're working along. Um, if you want to get to the main course page, I have this link here that'll take you to the main course page where you can look at, which unit you want to work on and all that kind of stuff. Um, Other stuff on Canvas. This first link here is our written syllabus. I would encourage you to read through that, but I know that, reading through a document by yourself can be kind of boring. I would encourage you to look through it, at least skim it. It's not super long. But that's the reason I'm doing this video syllabus, is so that you have maybe a more friendly introduction to what to expect in the course. But the details are here in the written syllabus. So that link will always be there. This I'm going to show you towards the end. This is a document that explains a little bit more about course mastery. I already included a lot of that information in our slides, so it's not like a huge deal. This is a link that will take you to my personal Zoom link. So if you're meeting me on Zoom, you'll click to this, around the time when our meeting's scheduled to start, and I'll be able to, let you into the meeting, and that's the way that we can use that. This is for our Zoom whiteboard. So as we're doing a Zoom call, I can write down using my tablet, um, to do math here, and you should be able to see what I write in real time. Each one of you so far has, your own page, and I'll add on to this as more people join the class and that kind of stuff. But um, yeah, I just did that so that there's something on the screen. But yeah, I'll be able to write on this. You would be able to write on this if you want to, but everything that I write during our sessions should be saved here so that you have a record of it so that you can, look at it. Cool. So that's at least the beginning of things. Real quick, let's take a look at the Canvas calendar. I think that view will be helpful. Um, I don't want this view. Show me the month and show me next month. There we go. Okay, so we're starting here June 30th. And yeah, the event that I have is syllabus and start. I want you to notice that, I've got one of these for each of the three classes, but I've tried to map like what overall progress percentage you should be at throughout the semester. Um, Getting that first 10% progress is not super hard. Like normally at the beginning of a course, you're working through material that is fairly familiar to you. So getting that first 10 and then 20% progress is not insurmountable to do in a couple days. Um, And so, yeah, I mapped this out so it's a little bit front loaded. Our whole semester is, 4 weeks long. And so aiming for about 58% progress by midterm and then, you know, kind of front loaded so that you're getting to where hopefully, if you're at 90% progress overall, that means you've essentially finished the course. The 95% and the 100% would just be gravy on the top of that. Um, you'd be earning extra credit at that point. But yeah, the progress tends to move quickly at the beginning and then slows down because you start to encounter more difficult math that you haven't mastered before, as you continue to work. So progress does tend to naturally slow down. That's why it's important to make a good amount of progress early on. The other thing that you might notice on this calendar is that I have appointment groups scheduled so that if you want to meet with me, you totally can do that. I think, the easiest way to do that is probably if we go back to our main Canvas page and I say, view this as a student. Um, what I can do is if I wanted to sign up for a time on Monday, June 30th, I could click meet with Dr. Lundholm. And over here, I would see, what appointment hours I put down. Um, and then maybe I want to meet at 8:30 in the morning. I could click on that. If I wanted to leave a comment, I could, anything to let me know what's going on. Um, and then click this reserve button. If you click this reserve button, it'll mean that you reserve that time. It'll go off the list for everybody else, and it'll show up on my calendar as a time when we're going to meet. So this is a nice tool to be able to kind of reserve times to meet with me. And I do encourage you to do that um, because that's what separates this course from just working through the material all by yourself. If I can be, uh, a human influence, a buddy to help you work through this material, um, don't worry about, I don't know, boring me. I have a pretty high math tolerance. Um, I could work on this stuff for hours if I needed to. Um, so yeah, feel free to sign up. I know we've only got 4 weeks, so if you want to meet once a day, that's not impossible. If you want to meet a couple times a week, that's totally fine. If you want to meet once a week, that's okay too. If you never want to meet with me online, I'll try not to take it personally. I understand that, the summer schedule can be pretty chaotic and you might not be able to make the times that I have posted. If you can't make the times that I have posted, but you could make it another time, you could let me know. And maybe we could try to work something out. But yeah, summer schedule is kind of chaotic and you might not even know what's going to happen a couple days down the line. Um, I know that my parents wanna go on vacation to Kentucky sometime, and I'm gonna need to do that. I'll try to be as available as I can. But yeah, uh, yeah, you can sign up for meetings with me, and I would be happy to meet with you. So, I've got the meetings, appointment slots scheduled there for the first week, and I'll update this for the upcoming weeks. Um, but yeah, you can always just click on those and reserve the individual times that you'd like to meet. So um, there's that. And then when we actually it's time to meet, you click that link, and I have my notes there. Um, all right, let's keep going with the PowerPoint. I made this to help organize us, so we've made lots of progress. We look through Canvas. I might send Canvas messages, announcements, that kind of stuff. That's totally cool. Um, Ooh, yeah, one thing for the Zoom calls. You will want to use the sign in, the secure sign on link here. You'll want to use Milligan when it prompts you for what blank.zoom.us. You'll want to put in Milligan there, and then you'll be able to enter your Milligan password. Um, to actually sign in. It'll take you to the Milligan sign in page. And once you're signed in with Milligan, it means that you will be able to see the whiteboard. Uh, I can't share the whiteboard with the public, but I can share the whiteboard with your Milligan email. So if you sign into Zoom using this option, you'll be able to see the Zoom whiteboard, and everything will just work a little bit more seamlessly. Um, so that's a good thing to remember about Zoom. All right, here's maybe my favorite part, just, being a massive nerd. I think that AI can be a good learning tool. Um, First and foremost, we want to focus on building your brain and working that out. Math is not a spectator sport. Um, it's something that you have to work at actively. It honestly, especially these Khan Academy courses, feel a lot like you're just going to the gym and maybe you're lifting some heavy weights, maybe you're doing some cardio, but like you're going to get out of this class what you put into it. And if you have a robot running for you or a robot lifting your weights, you're not going to see the gains. Um, so I had this next one. This is actually, I did have AI help me make this image, but I want you to know that putting effort into a math class is great because education is an investment in yourself. Um, and so even in an age where like AI is getting crazy, y'all, especially in the math world, like the best AI models now can do most of the math problems that you would see at pretty much any level of a college math class. So that's pretty wild. And you might ask yourself, like, if a robot can do it, why do I need to learn how to do it? Well, you still have an immense capability to become a servant leader and to, um, you know, glorify God with your brain, and learning. You putting in effort now is going to mean that when somebody needs you in the future to put effort into thinking and help them solve problems, you're going to be there and you're going to be um, able to help, which is life. It's great. So we are leveling up in this class. I want to encourage you to, actually work through this and feel like you're doing it old school and like understanding along the way. It can be really easy to just use an AI to just go on autopilot and not learn anything, but I want you to learn. And you want to learn. One of the things that maybe you haven't heard of before, Conmigo is kind of Khan Academy's homegrown AI that's integrated into the thing, into all this stuff. I guess Conmigo will work with you best when you're doing the practice, like working skill by skill. But Conmigo might say that it doesn't want to help you on quizzes and unit tests. Because at that point, hopefully on quizzes and unit tests, you kind of are taking ownership of that and you know what you're doing. Um, but Conmigo is cool because it's baked into the problems that you will actually be doing. Currently, there's a subscription of $4 a month, but there's a promotion where you can get a coupon and get the first month totally free. And since our class is only like a month long, you could use this AI for free. You'd have to like sign up for it at this link. So conmigo.ai/learners, when you're logged into Khan Academy. This is totally optional, but it's kind of cool. Maybe I can open up and show you what that looks like. All right, let's go to this one, the one that I didn't get. Do I have Conmigo on this? Okay. On this account, I'm signed in as a teacher. Let me go to my other one. Wah. Okay. Let's go to Algebra 1. I don't know. I think I was picking what? No, it was this one. Ooh. All right, so let's try this. One individual skill. All right. Looks like a reindeer right now. But um yeah, if we were going to work on this, it says the table gives the number of branches on a large tree after the year 2000. What kind of function best models this relationship? If I wanted to get AI help to help me understand this, I could say, walk me through this exercise. And what's nice is that Conmigo automatically knows what's going on here. And it'll give you like, oh, hey, we've got this table. It's asking what kind of function it is. We can check the differences as we go down and see that the differences aren't constant. So, 23 minus 16, 7. So, yeah, all of those are changing, but the ratios are pretty close to being constant. And so, if you've got a constant ratio, that's an exponential. If you've got a constant difference, that means it's linear. This means that it's growing by a multiplicative factor over time, which is cool. And this is growing by an additive factor. Anyways, um, this kind of thing isn't always going to just walk you through the entire thing. I guess that's that's probably not what Khan Academy wants, but that was a pretty helpful. Um, yeah, student mode was off. That was the teacher mode. What was I doing? All right, this is what it's going to look like as a student. It gave me way too much information on that last one. It just like walked me through. Oh, okay. So if you're in the student mode, you're going to see, okay, let's start by thinking about the relationship. Okay, cool, cool. What kind of pattern or trend do you think this creates over time? I mean, it seems like, okay, that's a consistent rate of change. Sure, I don't like, you can chat with this. Ooh, suggest a linear relationship. Cool. So, like, it's a line. Great. I guess what I want to show you is that Conmigo, it's embedded in Khan Academy, so it's going to be able to like pull the context from the problem really easy every time. And you can turn on Conmigo voice if you want it to talk to you. You can turn on speech recognition if you want to speak your answers. It's not a completely seamless thing. Like, um, this is just speech recognition that will pop that in. And I mean, here, we could try it for this one. The number of visitors to the Eiffel Tower in Paris increases by 1.5% each year. Which kind of function? Okay, so this is going to be exponential. Hmm. Help me solve this. So notice that it's just copying down as text what I wrote. Stop it. And then you have to send it. Um, okay. I want to turn on that voice. Ooh, it linked me some videos. Okay, great. This it's exponential. Let me see if I can give you Conmigo audio on the next one. That's on. Help me solve this. Am I sharing the sound?
Let's start by examining the data. What do you notice about how the number of solar panels changes as time increases?
Yeah, so there's that. It basically just reads the text to you, which is not crazy. Um, so yeah, if you want to set up Conmigo, that's a cool embedded way in Khan Academy that you can do. Um, Another one that I don't know, maybe you haven't seen before. Let's get rid of this. Let's go to this. Okay, so I put a link here, this AI live chat. So this is within Google's ecosystem. This is their Gemini model. I would say make sure that you're on this top one for now, the Gemini 2.5 Flash Preview Native Audio Dialogue. It's the one that seems to be kind of the best, smoothest experience for now, at least for me. You can play with that if you want. But what's cool about this one is you can work with it in real time and just interact with it via voice, and it'll look at what's on your screen and interact with you that way. Um, so it might feel a little bit more natural if you're using your hands to type and click and that kind of stuff to not have to use the Conmigo sidebar. Something that if you haven't tried it, it's really cool. Let me see if I can show you real quick. Let's open up this Chrome tab with the word problems. All right, so it looks like this is going on okay. Hey, can you help me work on this math problem?
Sure, I can help with that. The problem is about a manufacturing plant that earns $80 per man hour and earns an additional 6% each year. It wants to know the expression that gives the earnings after 3 years. So the initial earnings is $80, and with a 6% increase each year, you multiply by 1.06 for each year. For 3 years, that would be 80 times 1.06 times 1.06 times 1.06. So the correct expression is option A.
Cool, thanks for the help. Um,
You're welcome. Glad I could help. Let me know if you need any more help with other problems.
all right, so based on that last one, it seems like we're starting off with 500 bacteria here. We're multiplying that by a factor of 1.2, and it seems like we need to do that 3 times. So maybe choice C?
Yes, that's correct. The number of bacteria is multiplied by 1.2 each hour. So after 3 hours, you multiply the initial 500 by 1.2 3 times. So option C is the correct expression.
Mm. All right, so now we've got 9,900 people and we're growing at a rate. That means we're gonna add some people on. I think maybe choice B is the best here.
You're on the right track. Since the population is growing at a 2.3% each year, you need to multiply the initial 9,900 by 1.023 for each year of growth. Since it's for 5 years, you'll raise that to the power of 5. So the correct expression is indeed option D.
Oh, and so why wasn't it B? Why wasn't B the right answer?
Option B uses addition instead of multiplication for the growth. When the population grows by a percentage each year, you need to multiply by the growth factor for each year, not add the percentage increase. That's why option D, which uses multiplication, is the correct expression for exponential growth.
Okay, thanks. All right, so that gives you a feel for, I don't know, a cool way to use AI to, work with this. I mean, if you haven't tried it before, like you totally can just take a screenshot of a problem and you could bring it into the chat version here. You could paste the image and you could say, help tutor me through this problem. And um, if you like reading, if you like kind of a more thorough explanation, this is good for like here we're using the Gemini 2.5 Pro model, which is better at reasoning and mathematics. So you're going to get more reliable answers with this model. The chat model, hmm, it's going to be right most of the time, but might have some, some failure cases. Oh, look. And actually, since I said help tutor me, it didn't just run me through the entire thing. Um, so it's trying to help me think through things step by step, which could be a really valuable learning tool. Again, I want you always to feel like you are in control, that you are taking like responsibility for the learning, that you're actually making your brain hurt a little bit as you do this, because that's what helps you grow as a person. Um, but this can be a good scaffolding to help you um, learn in an efficient manner when I'm not around. If you want to work with this when I'm not around, it's cool. But if I can be available to you, again, I want to be available for you. So, um, let me know. I think that is, the major stuff. I have this slide left on um, our PowerPoint here. When you're working with AI, focus on understanding, not just the answers totally. I said make it personal. Um, you can be the dumbest version of yourself when you're talking to an AI because the AI is always going to be like helpful and want to help you and not judge you at all. Um, so, like, if you have questions that are unanswered, do not be afraid, especially there, but tell me too. But like you can ask for a different explanation. You can be as annoying as you want to be, and like the AI is happy to help, kind of a thing. So you can make it personal to your specific questions. You can ask it like, "Why am I even learning this stuff?" If you're getting really bored, there's a lot of ways to use this well. I said talk it out. I showed you that Gemini Live thing in AI Studio, which is pretty cool. Um, Also, to remember to be a critic and don't accept everything that AI tells you right off the bat, especially if it's trying to, give you answers. There are ways to prompt it, like that one that I just did, where if you ask it to tutor you, kind of a step by step kind of a thing, it's going to interact with you in a way that helps you learn better than just spitting out the entire answer. But yeah, like be critical of things that AI say. They're not perfect. Humans aren't perfect either. But um, make sure that you're always in control of the answer that you're giving and that you're able to give reasoning for any answer that you're giving, that kind of thing. So again, I want you to get a strong start this semester. If we can get a good progress this first week, that'll be a good thing. Try to work efficiently. I would say quizzes and then unit tests. If you can set up consistent times to revisit Khan Academy throughout the week, that'll be a good important thing. Because if you try to work on this, for 2 or 3 hours at a time, you're going to get burnt out. The best way to do this is going to be 30-minute, hour-long sessions that you do, maybe one in the morning, one in the evening, that kind of thing. Um, but yeah, since we are compressed into 4 weeks, it would be good to work on it maybe a couple times a day. You'll be able to tell, your rate of progress as you start. Um, Again, focus on learning and growing you because that's really what we're here for. Um, please go ahead and sign up for some meetings. I want to be a human in the loop that helps you learn and grow and all that kind of things. I like doing math, so you are not imposing on me. Um, and yeah, if you have any issues, I'd be happy to help. Go ahead and look around Canvas and um, things should be in order. All right, well, I'm looking forward to meeting you. I'm looking forward to having you in class. Um, I hope this is a good experience for you. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks. All right, so let's